there, Peter Hewitt, la-artistino. Today I have a real treat for you. This colouring book, previously only available from Sweden, is set to smash its way up to the top of the Amazon colouring book charts and is of course the magnificent Dagdrömmar by Swedish illustrator Hanna Karlzon. The publishers did not spare the horses on this one. Dagdrömmar, or Daydreams as the title translates into English, is well bound with a hardcover, making it an ideal travel or lap book, as there is no need to rest the book on a table or other support to colour. The book consists of 96 perfectly printed pages on medium thick paper, similar to Joanna Basford's books, and are a pleasure to colour with pencils. The binding is secure, as there is no danger of these pages falling out. I'll give you a little tour of the book now and show you the pieces that I've done in it already. Starts off with this lovely black paper, and you have the title page. As I said, this one is the Swedish version, so everything's written in Swedish. This is the first page with the nameplate, which I have coloured in using my Faber-Castells, the polychromos ones of course. And as you can see, this paper loves pencils. It has really worked well, it blends well, the pencils sit very nicely on there and you can put many layers on. The pictures themselves are all orientated around nature and people, very whimsical, a bit of Art Nouveau here, a bit of 70s punk rock. It's quite nice. There's a large variety. You've got people, birds, she's very fond of birds, houses and flowers, so something different. Here's another piece that I've coloured in, again using my Faber-Castell polychromos. I've used a little bit of white gel pen here just to bring out the wings. This book lends itself to a lot of exploration with colours. There's a couple of pages such as this one where she invites you to just fill in your own patterns. Don't worry, there's not very many of these for people who don't like to add drawings themselves. But you could do something else in this. You could do colour textures. I've seen a beautiful version where somebody has drawn in a galaxy scene in the wings. So lots of different variations of things you could do just with this page. Well, you know, crown of flowers, more birds. She's very fond of the birds. And then you've got these beautiful cats as well. And there's a snail there. Some of the pieces go right to the binding, and the book does lay fairly flat. I mean, there's a little bit of a dimple in there where you're going to find it a bit difficult to colour, but I don't really mind because this binding is wonderful and the book itself is just lovely to hold and look at. There we've got a couple of double spreads in here as well. The majority of the pictures are single paged, but there are some lovely double spreads. There's a sea theme as well, and bugs. There's another rabbit. You see a few kittens and rabbits in this book. More trees. I mean, look at this paper, it's lovely. It's very similar actually to the paper that is used in Joanna Basford's books and Millie Marotta's. There's a nice, very fine tooth to it as well. Not a very large tooth, but enough to catch the pencil and give you a nice smooth result. Now, I haven't tried watercolour medium in this at present. This isn't watercolour paper, so you probably will experience a little bit of buckling, similar to what you see in my pictures of the Magical City, where I do and Inktense pencils. If you're happy to live with a little bit of buckling, I think this paper would take the Inktense very nicely. As for markers, alcohol markers will bleed through. Alcohol markers bleed through anything, so your Sharpies and your Copics, not a good idea unless you want to sacrifice the next page. Oh, look at that. There's a house, a little village sitting on the back of a cat. What an imagination. I like this as well. You've got houses here, but they're all covered in little mushrooms and toadstools. It's kind of fun. Now, water-based markers such as your Tombows I think a light application of them would sit quite nicely on the paper. I don't think they would bleed through. I think you would have to use quite a heavy or multiple application on wet paper to be able to cause it to bleed through. But a light application and leaving the paper to dry in between each layer of your watercolour markers, I think you would not have much problem. But again, I can't speak for the US version that is set to come out through Amazon. That's going through a different publishing house, and therefore they may use different paper. But as that will not be available until June, I can't really comment on that yet. But this Swedish version, paper's quite lovely. There you go, you've got a unicorn there. It's beautiful. Some ostriches in a lovely set of flowers. I use the word lovely too much, don't I? But you can't help it with this book. It just is lovely. It's the definition of lovely. I'm sure if you looked up in the dictionary the definition of lovely, you would see Dagdrömmar. Now here's a third picture that I've coloured. Beautiful little, what would you call it, like a fairy princess. Again, just with the polychromos. Lots of fun to colour. I think one of the other things I like about this book is the pages are a little bit smaller than your average colouring book, which means you can colour them a little bit faster and finish them off and move on to the next piece. And I like that. She's very fond of putting crowns on little animals. That looks quite cute. This is a beautiful double spread. I've seen this done a number of different ways, from traditional pick-up colours to a lovely version where they've done in reds and golds. So let your imagination go wild with this book. It certainly invites it. There's lots of ladies' faces as well, and you may have seen recently I have released a video where I show you how to colour a lady's face, and this actually comes from this book, so you'll see where I'm up to with that picture in here. This is cute. I think this paper would very much lend itself to also using pastels. If you see my previous videos, I've shown you how to apply powdered pastels to the background to quickly fill it in with a nice smooth colour. And I think what I'd probably do with this one is put pastel over the back and then pick out the raindrops with a white gel pen. That's one way of doing it. You may think of other ways. Here's another one of these pictures where she invites you to add your own patterns. And this gorgeous double spread here, I could see myself doing this in shades of blue and green. And you've got more aquatic themes. There's a lot of variety in this book. You certainly won't be bored with that. There's another one of her kitties, again wearing a crown, and you've got gemstones as well. There's quite a few gemstones throughout the book too. Now there is quite a lot of tutorials on different ways to colour gemstones. I've got my own way of doing it, but certainly go ahead and look up colouring blogs and YouTube videos on how to colour gemstones for some ideas on how to do these. There's a little wasp with some gemstones, and this is gorgeous too. It's double spread with the owls. Very whimsical with little toadstools growing out of their heads. Some more of the lovely aquatic type theme. And the third of these invitations to add your own designs. Again, you've got another rabbit here with another crown. This is gorgeous. In fact, it's all gorgeous. There's not a single picture in this book that I don't love. Here you go. This is for the more adventurous, colouring in all these birds. You could do them similar colours, or you could do a rainbow gradient, starting out with purple birds here and transitioning all the way through to blue ones on this side. I think I would love to do this one in a limited palette. I think just choosing a couple of colours and maybe some gold accents. Another thing you could do is add accents with gel pens, so say a gold gel pen, and colour in all the line art here, and then the rest of the lines you could colour in different colours. I think this book would work very well with gel pens as well if you wanted to go that direction. There's a squirrel, again with a crown and a jewel. I love this. How's this version of a snail? You've got the snail here, and he's carrying a huge sort of fanciful mansion on his back. Big jellyfish. And this, I like this one too. They're very elegant pictures. Oh look, there's the wasp again with his gems. Rooster, again, little flowers growing out the back of his tail. Look, I haven't seen a single picture on here that I wouldn't love to colour. I don't know about you, but I think they're all gorgeous. This is the one that I spoke about earlier, where I've already done a colouring tutorial. Look out for the next tutorial in this series where I'll colour the hair and start working on some of the head and the gems. And this fox, I think what I'm going to do with him is put him in a little bed of autumn leaves around the outside. Another gorgeous house. And the owl. Now I've seen some previews of the next book, which I believe will also be out on June the 7th through Amazon, but is already available in Sweden, and the pictures look just as gorgeous as this book, so I'm certainly going to be getting that for myself. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Dagdrömmar, or Daydreams. I'd very much recommend this book if this is the type of theme that you like. It's got everything that you would want in a book, and I hope you enjoy whatever colouring adventure you're currently on, and until next time, happy colouring! I hope you're enjoying any colouring adventures that you are currently on, and until next time, happy colouring!